Oh. It reads backwards. Shoot. It's back in my chair. Hi. Just waiting for people to get in. Okay, he left. Let's Ow. Hey, Neil. Hi. I'm just waiting for some people to get in. We'll start about 2 o'clock. We have 2 people now. Devil the people. Cheers. Yay, more people. I think you guys can like leave me a comment on the side and then I can see them. Will someone send me one just so I can like make sure I can see them? Hi. Okay, good. I can see them. So what we're going to do is y'all going to ask me questions on the side. I'll be here to review. If no one has any questions, I'll just, I guess, start going through our questions and see what we need help with about the questions. And I think we'll go from there. Hi. Hi, Bella's sister. But where's Bella? There we go. Let me pull this up so I also have notes in case we need them. You know, it's going to be fine. Do, 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 do. 10 people. We'll start in like 5 minutes. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Sorry, guys, just answering emails with peeps. Do, do, do. So aside from trying to figure out its learning, what have you guys been doing to keep busy? This is the part where you have to leave me a comment because like I can't hear you. I've been doing like some random TikTok dances to try and get better at them, I guess, and annoying my cat. And I tried to make the cloud coffee. Maddie started a drawing business. What do you draw, Maddie? Nemesis. Rockwell's on the wrong account. Great job, Nemesis. It doesn't really matter. Like I'm not going to be taking a role or anything, so you can stay in there. Sarah's been watching Wizards of Waverly Place. I've watched Frozen 2 already twice. I'm going to watch it probably like another 2 times between today and tomorrow. I love that movie. And Thomas made cookies and going to deliver some to me, Thomas. That's so sweet. Oh my God, I've loved Lock and Key. Did you read the books? Because I didn't read the books, but I've heard they're really good. Hi, Miss P. Yes, Chelsea, that smile was to you. Yeah, I put the other teachers in here too because we're all really bored just like you guys. And we're all equally frustrated with how this has been going with its learning. But we're proud of you guys for being flexible and understanding things that happened. And Nemesis Rockwell, the elusive Nemesis Rockwell, ate pizza. Hi, Aaron. All right. We got 2 minutes and we'll get started just because I told everyone it would be 2 o'clock. So I wanted to be fair. I don't want anyone to get upset. We're thriving. I hung pictures and stuff. So I've got some pictures hanging in my house now. Nemesis Rockwell, that's fine. You can stay on that account. I just don't know who you are and I never will. So be good. See, it's just like we're in class. Always Diet Coke. Always some tea. We're here. And happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you're wearing green. I'm wearing green, so I can't get pinched. Like, Zoe, was your dog's birthday this upcoming Friday or like it already happened? And what'd you do for your dog's birthday while we wait? Can you guys see each other's comments or can only I see them? Abby, I'm impressed that you found toilet paper to hide it all. And hooray, happy belated birthday to your dog, Zoe. So wait, can you guys, everyone can see him. Dope. Am I a famous YouTuber yet? Is this what happens? Is this how I get my business started? Amazing. All right, so it's about that time. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Anybody have any questions they wanna ask? Do. All of this should be recorded and it will pop up on YouTube. Are you gonna have to sit through a 3-minute video? Possibly, but that's up to you. So if you get off in the middle or have to leave in the middle, not a big deal. Make sure to like and subscribe, says Ms. P, because, you know, we're just trying to glow up in here, trying to leave this all behind. Internet has shown me I can do anything. Yeah, so all this will be recorded, tra-la-la. Well, I guess I'll just get started. Let's start with our packets. Is there anything in here that you want to discuss? Anything that wasn't clear? Anything you want to look at specifically? I'm sorry. What type of irony is predominantly seen in the play? Well, what a great question, Ms. P. Because this is a play, we see a lot of dramatic irony. Now, dramatic irony, you need to remember, is when we know something the characters don't know. And we see so much of that because Romeo and Juliet decided to keep their relationship a huge secret for the entire week that we see them. So that's really prevalent and really there. No, I'm not going to give you guys the test answers. Should I take off points for Abby and Sarah and Nemesis? Maybe. Actually, the answers are all F. So pick F, always. So yeah, dramatic irony, huge prevalence. We also see it present with the nurse when she's in and out of knowledge, like when she knows about Romeo's relationship with Juliet, but she doesn't know Juliet's faking her own death. So that becomes an element of dramatic irony. I want to say dramatic writing. Foils. Ooh, what a great question. So we have lots of foils present. Let's discuss some different ones. So when we open in Act 1, obviously we have Benvolio, who's a very positive and supportive friend, which is a great way to be. And we have Romeo, who's really depressed and sad. And so they act really well as foils in that first scene. While Benvolio is really positive and uplifting, Romeo's like, no, I'm so sad. Rosalind's left me and like, I have no light in my world. Benvolio's like, dude, we can find you somebody else. And literally Romeo kicks him. So, you know, real good sport there. Then as the scene progresses, we see Mercutio for the first time. And Mercutio and Romeo now become foils for the same reasons. Mercutio is very positive, very upbeat. He's like, come on, if love pricks you, prick love. But Romeo is like, no, I don't want to, blah, blah, blah. So we again have that contrast of ideas. Hi, Emma. Traumatic irony. I mean, that's what we're going through right now with this internet thing is traumatic irony, but we're here. What else do we need as foils? Really, Romeo and Juliet become foils in that first scene. Yeah, I feel okay with that. Because at first Juliet's like very like, oh, like let's be very reserved. Yes, Romeo is a foil to both Mercutio and Benvolio in Act 1. We also see the be foils again in Act 3, but it's changed because Romeo is now like, hey, I'm happy, my life's good, but we shouldn't fight. He refuses to fight Tybalt. And we know, dramatic irony, it's because they're secretly related because Romeo married Juliet, who was cousin to Tybalt. So Romeo and Tybalt are cousins-in-laws. But he can't tell anybody. Well, he could, but he chooses not to. So he tells Mercutio, like, I can't fight. I'm not going to do it. Mercutio's like, I can't have your honor ruined, so I will fight for you. So that really creates a good foil moment because Romeo's being very passive while Mercutio's like, we're fighting right now. Tybalt and Mercutio also act as, Tybalt and Benvolio act as good foils in that first Act 1 too, because Tybalt's all like, I'm going to fight anyone and everyone. Benvolio's like, hey, we should be more peaceful. So we see that. The differences between soliloquies, asides, and monologues. Thanks, Nolan, for the thought of donations. Soliloquies and monologues are the ones that are most commonly confused. An aside is pretty simple. Within the play, if you have an aside, it's typically like two characters having a side conversation, and either they have an aside to the audience so no other characters can hear. So they're like, well, obviously, blah, 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 blah. Can you believe this guy? And so it kind of like cuts to the audience and it's funny. Or they might have an aside to another character. We see that in Act 1, Scene 1, when those of the house of Capulet are like, is the law on our side if I say aye? Nay. And so like he has to say no, but I do mind telling you, sir. So he has an aside to another character. When you have an aside to another character, they're the only two that hear that, but we, the audience, hear because we need to know. A monologue is when you have a character on stage talking to these other characters and they're having this whole long speech and moment. We see that in Act 1 with the prince. We see that on the very end of Act 5 when the prince is giving his speech again. He's like, how dare you? We've all been punished here. Tra-la-la-la. We see when the friar is trying to explain at the end of Act 5 everything that happened. Those are all monologues. Soliloquies are when a character is saying their thoughts and feelings aloud. So when we have the balcony scene, that counts as a soliloquy because Juliet's not talking to any character particularly. She's just talking her thoughts aloud. Does Romeo overhear it? Yes, but that's still not a monologue. That's her thoughts coming aloud. We also see that with the friar when he's like picking flowers and he's like, oh, these flowers are so nice and so lovely, but within this contains two forces, good and evil, within all of us. It's just his feelings coming out. Let's see. Foils, boom, boom, boom. Questions about the test. So questions about the test. Yes, there will be a time limit. Honestly, I'm hoping by Friday we'll be okay to go with Honest Learning. If not, we'll play by ear, friends. I'll be honest, but we're going to do our best. There'll be a time limit. There will be roughly 70 questions. Multiple choice, matching, and short fill in the blank, like 1 or 2 word answers, are all fair game. Yes, I would say, Aaron, the climax is when Romeo kills Tybalt, because when we really have, well, ooh. But I think it all builds to really when Romeo and Juliet kill themselves. Because like that's really what our building action is. It's just part of the rising action. It gets really intense when Romeo kills Tybalt because now they can't be calm and have plenty of time. Thanks for my cool painting. It's from TJ Maxx. Ooh, the role of fate versus free will in our play is very interesting, which we also talked about with the Odyssey. But the role of fate is really great because it's often referred to as stars or destiny within the play. The characters all feel like they're ruled by fate, they're ruled by a dividing force that are determining things for them. And for example, we have the family of the Capulets and the Montagues who are always fated to go against each other. Now, Romeo and Juliet falling in love, has that kind of defied fate and like put that ruling to the side? That's what we think. However, they do fall in love, but it ends up causing more turmoil anyway. So is that fated for them to keep fighting forever? Like, and for these couple to kill themselves? It ends up bringing the families together. So was that fated? So it's a very interesting idea, the idea of fate versus free will. For a 70 question test, an hour, plenty of time. Because you have to remember, some multiple choice questions, like y'all won't know like this. Also, it's open note and open book. So love you, mean it. It's gonna be fine. Friar Lawrence's soliloquy in the beginning of the play. Are you talking about the one about the plants? Chill, Abby. It's gonna be fine. The purpose for the Friar Lawrence's soliloquy in the beginning of the play. I'm assuming that's with the flowers because that's where we first see him. What you got? YOLO guy, I'll get to your question 1 second, I promise. Do. You'll have to forgive me. I'm using my student copy, so I don't have my teacher copy in front of me because I looked at school. Oops, but we'll live. All right, so I'm on page 409 in our student book. If you're looking along with me, up to you, because I'm still answering Sanjana's question. The first time we see the friar, he has this whole very long speech talking about the flowers. And he says, within each flower, hold on. Oh, Michael's the grace that lies in plants, herbs, stones, and their true qualities, for not so wild on earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give. In the infinite rind of this weak flower, poison hath resonance and medicine power. So poison clearly is a bad thing. Medicine is a good thing. So inside this flower is good and bad. However, it depends on how you use it to whether that makes this flower good or bad. Fair? Because like if I use it to help somebody get better, I'm a good person, the flower is a good thing, good thing. If I use it to poison somebody, I'm a bad person, the flower is a bad thing, it doesn't go well. So, he also talks about how, nor aught, I'm at line 19, nor aught so good, but strained from that fair use, revolts from true birth, stumbling on abuse. So sometimes, and then virtue turns vice, being misapplied, and vice sometimes by action dignified. So virtue is a good thing, vice is a bad thing. So virtue can turn into vice if it's misapplied or like misused. But vice, the bad thing, sometime by action dignified means you do a bad thing for like a good reason. So for example, the friar does this. He marries Romeo and Juliet. They're two feuding households. Their families have no idea what's going on. He's giving a secret marriage to a 13-year-old girl. So like, that's probably not okay. But he justifies it because he says, if I do this, then they're going to, unite the houses and their rank will turn to true love and pure love and they'll be family. So that will be great. So that's really where it shows like how vice sometimes by action dignified. He feels like he's justified to do this. So that makes it a good thing. It's also funny because virtue itself turns vice, being misapplied. He tries to give lots of help to Romeo and Juliet along the way. He's like, okay, Romeo, you're going to go to Mantua and it's going to be fine. And then we'll send Juliet there. And then Juliet has her issues. He's like, okay, Juliet, here's our new plan. And then those get messed up again. He's like, okay, here's a new plan. So he's trying to be good and be virtuous and provide help. But virtue itself turns vice, being misapplied. So he's trying to help, but it's not working. And it actually turns out to be a bad thing. It's like it kind of leads to our climax of their deaths. Ava, Romeo got the poison from, I haven't forgotten about you, yellow guy. Romeo got the poison from the apothecary, which is in scene 1 of Act 5. He goes to the apothecary and he's like, hello, you look poor. So you're gonna sell me some poison. And the apothecary says, well, I can't sell you poison because it's kind of illegal here in Mantua. And so Romeo says, forget laws like that. Clearly no one's helped you out because you're very poor and very awful. So if I give you money, then you're not gonna die and then you can go on living your little life. So give me the poison. And they do. Thomas wants to know, oh wait, let me go back. Hold on, yellow guy had a question. Let me go find it. Did I miss yellow? There we go. What would be an example of person versus nature conflict? Well, yellow guy, what a great question. So here's the thing. Naturally occurring, oh God, this is such a hot topic right now, but we'll live. Naturally occurring diseases and things count as nature. So when we have the friar with a letter, he passes off his letter to another friar and says, hey, friar, go take that to Romeo and Mantua. But the friar can't. He is on the way to go. He meets up with a friend. They get quarantined in a house because I think they have the pestilous bubonic plague. And so they get locked in the house and he can't leave. So nature has prevented through that disease the intent of helping Romeo and Juliet fix that. So that really helps with person versus nature. Scrolling back down because I had more great questions. I don't know what happened. Elizabeth, study everything for the test. Capulet party, is that what we want to talk about? Nemesis is helping people out. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, you can go to the bathroom. Here's the difference, Sahil. He doesn't buy it from the cheapest apothecary. He buys it from the poorest apothecary because he knows this guy is literally going to like starve tomorrow if he doesn't make a sale. So he knows this guy is desperate. So he knows the apothecary will break the law and sell him the poison. All right, so that's done. That's done. How did the whole party of Romeo and Juliet fell in love go down? Hold on. Hooray for germs. I'm not sick though, like sick. I'm fine. It's just allergies. We're moving along. There we go. Okay, so they're going to the party. Lord Capulet's there. Everything's great. everyone's having a good time. Romeo's still kind of like bumming out. And he's there because Benvolio said, look, I see that Rosalind's going to be there. So I'm going to take your swan and compare her to other girls and make her, you realize she's a crow. So like, you think she's all that? She's not. So we're going to fix this. So that's what their intent is for going to the party. They roll up to the party and Romeo just looks across the floor and sees this girl in a mask. He's like, oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright, on page 393, line 44 of Romeo. It seems she hangs upon the cheek of night as a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear. Beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. Which, like, oh, but dude, you don't even know who this girl is. And you're like, she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. She's like a jewel hanging from an ear. It's a lot. So as he's walking away, Tybalt's like, hey, I hear a Montague, and I know that's Romeo, so I'm going to go fight him. And he and Lord Capulet have their little spat because Tybalt's like, I'm going to go hurt him. And Capulet says, there's really no need. He's not doing anything bad. Just kind of leave him alone. And Tybalt's like, no, I want to. And that's when Lord Capulet says, this will be your undoing, your anger, which, foreshadowing, it is, because his anger is what gets Tybalt killed. Because not only did he kill somebody, he came back to the fight. So that's what led to his death. So Lord Capulet called it. So leave that alone. And that's when Romeo like secretly goes up to Juliet and they have the whole weird like pilgrim and saint thing. And he basically says, I'm a pilgrim praying to you, saint. And he's like, let's do what hands do. And like, his hands in prayer go. And so he wants the lips to go. So I guess it's a cool kid 1300 way of saying, want to make out. But he does. And she's like, and she has to like be all flirty. She can't be very forward because that's not appropriate for the time period. So she has to like kind of play coy and be like, well, I don't know if I should. So then she ends up saying, okay, fine. And la 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 la. I'm now on page 394. Romeo says, oh, then dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray, grant thou lest faith turn to despair. She says, being coy, saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake. She's like, well, saints don't move. And if I'm the saint, I can't move, but we do grant prayer. And Romeo says, then move not while my prayers effect I take. Thus from my lips, my sin is purged. And so like he goes to go kiss her because she can't move as a saint, but he's the pilgrim going to the saint. So mwah, kiss. And she says, then my lips, the sin that they have took. And he says, sin from my lips? Oh, trespass sweetly earned, give me my sin again. So he's saying, that was fun. Let's kiss again. And so mwah, she leaves, and that's when he sees the nurse, and he's like, hey, who is that? And the nurse says, well, her mother is the lady of the house, the Capulet house. That's when he's like, oh, no. So, yeah, that's the party scene. Tra-la-la-la. Whoa, whoa. What are puns? Puns are playing on words. For example, in Act 1, Scene 4. Yep. When they're walking down to go to the party, before Mercutio has like his really weird speech about like Queen Mab. He's talking to Mercutio and the crew, and they're like, come on, we're gonna go out, we're gonna have a good time. And I'm at page 389. Romeo says, you have dancing shoes with nimble soles, like the soles of your shoes, that I don't have a shoe with me, but shoe, sole. I have a soul in my soul, like my heart, of lead. So this takes me to the ground. I cannot move. So he's like, you guys can go dance around and have a good time. My soul is heavy. Ooh, so deep, so meaningful, so emotional. Y'all having too much fun in this comment section. What does Friar Lawrence intend to do after hearing the news? What news is it again from Friar John? So I'm assuming you're talking about, Rebecca, in Act 5, when Friar Lawrence learns that Friar John didn't make the thing happen, like he didn't go do the stuff he was supposed to do. So he realizes that the plan's messed up. Romeo doesn't know anything, according to the friar. So he's like, well, drats, I'm gonna have to go back and fix this. So what I'll do now, so this is like his backup plan, because his first plan was, we'll take Romeo to Mantua and we'll get Juliet to go to Mantua. Backup plan 2 was Juliet will fake her death and Romeo will be there to wake her up. So now we're in backup plan 3 of, okay, so Romeo doesn't know. So what I'll do is I'll go get Juliet and I'll keep her like at my cell in like the church. and she'll stay there with me, and like we'll get her to go to Romeo. And then backup plan 4, because that didn't work, is they were now Romeo's dead. And hey, how about you go be a nun? And none of those work. So virtue sometimes vice being misapplied. Major conflict in Act 5. Ooh, okay, I'm jumping back. I'm sorry, Sarah. Let me see your question. Sarah, I don't see your question. Ask it again and I'll answer it. I promise. I just see yes, sir, and very. Is the apothecary supposed to get in trouble? So it's illegal to sell poison in Mantua. He lives in Mantua. He sold poison, and they have proof because they have basically the suicide note that Romeo gave to his watchman and said, "Hey, give this to my dad in the morning," and so that he was going to. I'm sorry, I got lost. Where was I? Is the apothecary supposed to get in trouble? So like they have all the evidence they need. We don't see it happen, so it doesn't really matter, but like he definitely could, which I'm like, poor guy, he just wanted to eat. But that's my personal opinion. Sahil had a good question. What's the importance of the nurse betraying Juliet? So the nurse is really important because she acts as the mother figure for Juliet. We see Juliet's mother in the first scene, like she's very kind of cold and she doesn't really know how to talk to her daughter because she hasn't really been around. Meanwhile, the nurse is like, I know her age onto an hour. I was there when she was born. She's so wonderful. She's my world. And remember, the nurse's own daughter died, like the same age as Juliet. So Juliet basically took that place in her heart as like her daughter. So the nurse has been there for everything. And she's also Juliet's confidant. That's who Juliet tells everything to. She says, I fell in love with this boy and like he's really sweet. Will you go find out if he's going to marry me today? And the nurse does because she loves and cares about her. And then we see that moment where Juliet's like, nurse, please just tell me what's happening. And like she's kind of hesitant too because it's a weird plan, but also she knows that like this is a big stepping point for Juliet, and like who knows what will happen. So it's a really sweet moment. So the fact that Juliet has lost that trust and like that connection, because we see at the Act 3, Scene 1, her dad is like, if you don't do what I say, I will abandon you and you can go die and beg in the streets. Her mom says, do as thou wilt, for I have done with thee. And she walks off down the hallway. And the nurse says, I don't know, maybe you should marry Paris because it's a better match. It excels your first, or if not, at least he's here because like Romeo's there and your mom sent a hitman to kill him. So might as well go ahead and marry Paris. I saw Sarah's question. Is the friar marrying Romeo and Juliet an example of his soliloquy? So the friar, when he is giving his speech to Romeo and Juliet as they're getting married, monologue, because he's speaking to these characters. He has some very good advice. Let's look at that. Hold on. The sweetest honey is loathsome in his own deliciousness, and in the taste confounds the appetite. So he's like, having something really sweet can end up destroying your appetite. Therefore, love moderately. Long love doth so. Too swift arrives as tardy as too slow. So don't go too fast. Just now that you guys have each other, be calm. So he's trying to help and he does give advice. So that is very important. A very important monologue. We need to know about Shakespeare's history of childhood and that type of stuff or just basic info. I would know the basic info, like about like the lifetime, like what people did at the time. But like, hold up. I'm checking to see my notes that I have for our test. You'll have like some very basic questions about like what was up with women at the time period. Oh my God, what's happening with the letters? Stop it. Oh my God. Stop it. I'll just wait. That's fine. I mean, y'all are welcome to start a revolution. I'll log off. That's fine. I have other things I can do. How does the comedy and tragedy progress throughout the play? So overall, like if you had to say, like if someone's like, hey, like what kind of play is Romeo and Juliet? It is a tragedy, but it's not entirely a tragedy. Act one's pretty hilarious. Acts 1 through 1 and 2. They're pretty great. Like we have Romeo being the super depressed emo kid. We have Mercutio making sex jokes all the time. We have the nurse making sex jokes all the time. They're being kind of funny. And so it's a very light moment. They're like, oh, wow. Like, oh my gosh, I love you. I know my ears have not yet drunk 100 words, yet I know your voice to be Romeo. And he's like, oh, if I had a piece of paper with my name, I would just rip it in half for you. Ew, like, don't be so much. But it's kind of funny, cringy. So, like, that's still considered 2 acts. Act 3 gets real intense real fast because we have deaths in the very first scene because Tybalt dies and Mercutio dies. 2 very important characters. Arguably 2 of my favorite characters. I know Tybalt's kind of a brat, but he's still pretty great. Paris, when he arrives to the tomb, first, it's very important why he's here. He's brought flowers and he's brought sweet water. And like the tomb is basically like an entry, like a doorway into like this little room, I guess it's full of dead Capulets of years past and centuries past. But basically he brings the sweet water and he brings flowers because he wants the site to look pretty for Juliet and to smell nice when people come to visit her. So he's going to sprinkle the water. He's like, I'll leave these here for you and I'll come every day and I'll refresh them. And if I run out of things like sweet water and flowers, I'll leave my tears for you. Which, oh, maybe he like wasn't a bad guy after all. He just was in the wrong story. So when he hears Romeo, he's hiding in the bushes, as well as Romeo's guy, as well as Paris's guy. So there's a bunch of people hiding in the bushes. And so he thinks Romeo's there to disturb the bodies. We never hear what that is. I think he thinks that he's just gonna like go in and maybe like take the body and be like, haha, look, I got the body of Tybalt. It's so funny. Or like, maybe I'll destroy the body of Juliet. Haha. Because he doesn't know that Romeo cares at all for the Capulets. He still thinks that Romeo is a Montague who hates the Capulets. He's like, he's here to mess things up. I guess it's the very lame equivalent of like stealing a high school mascot, stealing the dead body of your hated enemy. I don't know. Is there any person versus nature? So remember, a disease, like how the friar is prevented from traveling, is a form of nature because like it's a naturally occurring disease. You could also argue that the poison is nature because like it's made from herbs and remedies and things. So I think those both count very well. Nature, all right, check. I mean, I like his virtue and vice. He thought marrying them would be a bad idea. It could turn into a good thing. We never hear anything about the hitman anymore, Sahil. And who's the one keeping watch for Romeo when he digs up Juliet? So remember we like at the very last scene, we had 2 parts that had 2 names. There was something boy and something man. It's those people. Let me go find it just so we know for sure. It doesn't matter, but like, I'll go find it. Along. Page boy and so Paris has page boy and Romeo has Balthazar man. So Balthazar is there with him. And Balthazar is the one who gets the letter where Romeo says, all right, so here's the letter. Don't read it. Give it to my dad tomorrow. It actually is the note that explains that he got the poison from the apothecary. Can nature? Yes, nature can be disease. Balthazar shows up to tell Romeo in Mantua that Juliet's dead. Because if you remember, the friar said to Romeo, all right, you can't stay here, so go spend 1 night with Juliet, because if not, you're going to die. And you'll go to Mantua. I'll find your man, and he will bring you updates of things that happen here in Verona. So Romeo leaves Verona, goes to Mantua, understanding that his guy, Balthazar, will come visit on occasion to spread news. Balthazar isn't sent by the friar to say, hey, Juliet said. Balthazar just sees it happen. He's like, I watched her body get put in that tomb, man. She's dead. There was some short answer, as in like 2 fill in the blank word answers, Shreya. What's the best resource to study? Is there like a study guide? Yes, why, of course there is, Sahil. It looks just like this, except yours should be filled out. I'm probably also going, the study guide is the question packet, silly boy. You also have your text that you've been writing in this whole time, which is great because you brought your book every single day to class and never had to use an online version. I'm probably also going to like throw together a Quizlet because Elizabeth said that would be very helpful, and I agree. So hooray. Do we have to turn in the packet? So keep the packet. I'm gonna be really real with you guys. Like I'm hoping that we'll be back in time like after spring break. Currently the plan is April 13th. And like, I'm not trying to make your life harder, but hold on to that packet, turn that in. That's gonna be a really easy high grade to help us out again. Because like I know this has been very stressful. And so I want to reward you guys for like all the effort you've put in because y'all worked really hard on those packets. So keep them, hold on to them, and we'll turn them in. How much do we need to know about Shakespeare? For Shakespeare, I would just know about like the people in the village, know plays that he's written, like how many plays, know his, know what his theater is. Answered. Nolan took away his message. The conflict chart. Those are very helpful. Is there a reason Friar Lawrence sent the other friar? I think Friar sent the other friar because he trusts better than Friar. We done. It just bites him in the butt, much like me using It's Learning right now. We're currently going to take it on It's Learning, Abby, just because, I don't know, honestly, it's because I trust that source more. So that's why I'm waiting until Friday because I'm hoping by then we'll be okay. Today by about 12:30, It's Learning was functioning fine. So it may just be wait until 12:30 to log on and take it. No, I'm not going to upload an answer key, mostly because I don't have one at my fingertips. But we've been talking about it the entire time through class. We went over answers. And if you have questions right now, if you tell me, boom, what the act and the scene is, we can do that. So are there any, like, if you give me the number for the act and the scene, I can go ahead and answer the questions from a packet. Anybody? Any packet questions before I sign off? I'm going to go find the packet. Yes, Pranav, there are fill in the blank kind of answers where there's one or two words you'll put into a blank. You have to come up with the word yourself. Person versus nature in Act 5. The disease prevents the friar from going to go deliver it to the message to Romeo about the true plan about Juliet faking her death. And it's a naturally occurring disease because the bubonic plague. So that counts as nature. You could also count the poison because the apothecary makes it with herbs. What is the question 5 in Act 5.3? 6 people died in total, yes. Where'd it go? Question 15. Relate the events that led to Romeo and Juliet's deaths as they are told by Friar Lawrence near the end of the play. This is the part in class, my friends, that if you're in my class, we didn't like read all of it because it's just remember when we were sitting there and I was like, all right, so I'm gonna be the friar and you guys have to gasp everything I taste every time I tell you something that the townspeople didn't know. Dramatic irony. So when he's like, Romeo and Juliet didn't hate each other, they were actually in love. Everyone's like, oh, and then he's like, and not only that, they were so in love, I secretly married them. And so things like that. So it's just the fact that he reveals everything that answers question 15. Yes, 6 people died in total. We have Mercutio, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet, Romeo's mom, Mercutio, Tybalt, Juliet, mom. Who am I forgetting? Paris. Thank you. Good job, Navia. That's answered in Act question 11. Act 5, Scene 3, question 11. What is it about Juliet that should have told Romeo she was not dead? So this is like the cringiest part because when he's leaning over her body, He's looking at her on page 473, line 91. Oh, how may I call this lightning? Oh, my love, my wife, as he's looking at dead Juliet. Death that hath sucked the honey of thy breath. So she has bad breath, but that means she has breath. Hath had no power yet upon thy beauty. Thou art not conquered. Beauty's ensign yet is crimson in thy lips. She's got color back in her face now, and in thy cheeks. So she's got rosy cheeks. And death's pale flag is not advanced there. So he sees all of those like things happening, and he doesn't put it together that, oh, she has bad breath, but she has breath, and her lips are colorful, and her cheeks are rosy. Dead bodies don't have rosy cheeks. They just don't. All right, that was number 11. We already did 15. How do Lord Montague and Lord Capulet plan to honor the memories of their children? So Lord Capulet goes to Lord Montague and says, all right, Lord Montague, for my daughter's dowry, let's end this feud. Boom. And Lord Montague says, that's a great idea, but I'm going to do one better. I'm going to make a statue of Juliet out of gold for your family. And so Lord Capulet says, interesting. I'll do the same for Romeo. So now you make a statue for Juliet, I'll make a statue for Romeo, and huzzah, we have ended the feud and we have statues to remember our children with forever. Romeo gives Balthazar 2 reasons for entering the Capulet's tomb. What are those 2 reasons? 1, I want to look at my love one last time. 2, she has a ring of mine and I need it back for reasons. Here's the thing, guys, the ring like isn't real. Romeo just needed an excuse to go through. Lord Montague gonna build, yep. Nadia, I'm gonna wait until we're all back together because I want to give you back your papers and you can see the feedback and we'll talk about the rewriting process. Yes. Person versus self in Act 5, Elizabeth. We're dealing with Romeo having like ideas like, what should I do? She's dead. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna end my life. And so he has a debate with himself about like what to do. And then he's like, I'm gonna kill myself. So where to get poisoned? So he has that kind of debate. We also have the apothecary who wrestles with the decision of, should I sell this guy poison and get the money or stick to my conscience and say yes? Which I also love that. That's such a deep burn that Romeo delivers very like callously. La 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 la. When he says, it is my poverty and not my will that does so. He says, the apothecary says, when he like Romeo's finally convinced him, my poverty but not my will consents. And Romeo says, I pay thy poverty and not thy will. Dude, roasted. Okay. I'm assuming it's Ben, who's Ben G22. You're not going to do your projects in front of the class. If you look for tomorrow, you guys are going to go read through everyone else's acts, and that will kind of provide you with a summary, as well as the video I posted today to you guys through Remind. I know it's not ideal, but it's the best I got. Act 4.3, question 9. How does Juliet show her maturity and independence in this scene? So Juliet, this is the one you guys to read by yourself. Juliet is now by herself. And so she's thinking about like, this is the night before she's going to fake her death. And she's sent away the nurse, she's sent away her mom. She's like, no, I can prepare myself for my wedding tomorrow to Paris, but it's not actually going to happen. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Oh my gosh, what do I do? Should I call the nurse, my mom back? No, I can do this myself. So it's showing her really first sign of independence doing like by herself. Just in case it doesn't work, she's like, little dagger, you just sit right here just in case I wake up in the morning. If I wake up in the morning because the potion didn't work, I'll just stab myself. 5 point, we already did that one. We did that one. I don't know what Nolan's saying, but I don't about. Anything else? 5.3, number 16. Romeo's letter confirms everything that happened because, like, remember, the friar can explain the Juliet side of things. He says, Juliet faked her own death, but I don't know what Romeo and Paris are doing here. And then Romeo's letter explains what he's doing there, that he's like, oh, I realize Juliet has died, so I've come to kill myself He was addressed to his dad to explain what happened. And so that's also why Page Boy, who's Paris's page, is there, because he's just like, hey, so I got this from, like, Paris was here. I was hiding the bushes with Paris because he wanted to just go see Juliet. I don't know how they got into a fight or whatever, but like, we're here. My favorite color is purple. Okay, is that it? Do we have any more questions? Do you guys want me to do this again on Thursday so like you have some time to think of more questions? Okay. All right, so I'm getting yes, lots of yeses. So we'll do this again. 5.3, number 15. Already answered. Yes, I'll do this on Thursday. Don't worry. So we'll do it again on Thursday. So think of good questions between now and then. Tomorrow, what you're going to do is you need to log on to It's Learning, and we'll go look at all of the different acts from your class period. And like, so let's say you worked on Act 1, then you'll go read Acts 2, 3, 4, 5 script. And you're like, okay, cool. Now like I kind of remember events that happened, and you read through what they wrote. You have to go reply to one of those acts. And once 7 people have answered Act 2, no one else can do Act 2. You have to go find a different act. That's counting as your presentation points for your project. I know it's not ideal for Ndaroos, and I think it'd be a lot of fun if you could do it in person, but like, I don't want to do that to you guys to say, hey, get together and film it and turn it in, because that's not safe for us. And we have to think of our safety. That's what's really important. If you guys need anything, It's Learning message, my regular email, remind text, it'll be great. Van the man. Van the man, who are you? I don't know who you are. It depends on if you have me. You can look at the acts from any questions from any classes that you want, Elizabeth, but you can only answer the acts in your class period. And I'll be very honest, it's because I'm selfish, and that makes it easier for me to go like see, so Elizabeth replied to one of these 4 instead of, oh, well, Elizabeth replied to one of these 20. La, 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 la. Okay, Van, bye. One comment per person, not be a good question, because like that's an individualized grade. Okay, friends. I'm gonna sign off. Have a great rest of your day. Wash your hands, and I'll talk to y'all Thursday.